Passionate in my fascination with the concept of the other, I have tried to make my images of women more complex and real. I am not at all interested in making erotic images of pretty girls. I guess this is because the women in my painting, although stunningly beautiful, are not merely models to me. They are, with very few exceptions, women who are very close to me, members of my own family, in this case, my eldest daughter. Paying attention to the important role the model plays in revealing the nature of the others is definitely something I learned from studying Chinese art. The seemingly unaware model, who knows she is being watched but chooses not to directly acknowledge it, is a mechanism by which the model reveals something of her own self-image as a woman. As I learned from Picasso, not all images of women need to be pretty or erotic to be powerful and real. You try to understand those lessons, not to compete, but to gain inspiration from the dialogue with another artist's work. As Henri Rousseau taught me, the secret of beauty can really only be discovered in the imagination. Another way I use the art of the past to inform my work is in direct collaborations. For example, I have always been fascinated by the rhythmic quality of Edward Muybridge's early photographic studies of movements made at the end of the 18th century. I am especially fascinated by his subjects. He used the cheapest models he could find, common laborers. The unseen working classes of the 19th century are revealed in Muybridge's photographs to be something much more powerful and vital than the high-born elite we encounter in most fashionable paintings of the time. For many years now, I have maintained a continuing conversation with Muybridge, trying to introduce a postmodern element of timelessness into his works, which are so rooted in a specific period of scientific research. Some works, similarly, are based on famous ancient statues and places. I try to find the same sense of grandeur in the more humble places I live. These dialogues or collaborations in turn led to a series of works which are based on fossils and prehistoric art. Collaborations with nature as the ultimate artist makes me feel connected to the past and the whole cycle of life on Earth in a very profound and satisfying way. A third and very important way for me to use the past as inspiration is to allow myself to be influenced by a painter's method more than the look or style of the work. For example, I've developed my own methodology from what I know of Rothko's approach to painting and how his abstract designs approach the quality of landscape. He began with a blank canvas tinted with a color. An assistant then chose a color from a number of cans of paint already prepared by the artist and placed a large shape on the canvas. Rothko then mixed a third color and placed it on the canvas, trying to achieve a synergy, a sum greater than the parts. He modified the shapes until he achieved a harmonious balance, and at that point the composition took on the character of volumetric space and almost becomes a landscape. I have modified the method to suit my own personality. Where Rothko's abstract composition approached the naturalism of landscape, my work often journeys from abstract reality to abstraction and then back again to an altered reality as landscape. I often begin with some natural texture as an experimental point of departure. For example, I might begin with a photograph of my cat's fur or a roofing shingle. The adhesive mark on the shingle eventually became the horizon of an imaginary landscape. My cat's fur became golden clouds. In my landscape works, there is a strong influence from Chinese painting. Not only, as in this case, the use of vertical format or the misty quality of the brushstroke, I have been profoundly influenced by the idea that the artist reveals something of his inner self through his creation of an imaginary landscape world. Many years ago as a student, I was very entranced with the Chinese tradition of Everspring Valley, and in a way, it is how I think of my landscapes, as a kind of Shangri-La and self-portrait at the very same time. Sometimes, I am told, my self-image can be a little hard to follow.